All right, welcome to episode number 2 of Unfiltered.
Today we're going to be talking about what we would have done differently if we could go back to 2015 and start high school again.
And towards the end of the show, we're also going to be talking about MMA if you're interested in that. We're really looking forward to the UFC 273 card, and we just think it's stacked, so, we're ready to talk about that as well.
For sure. So, starting off the topic, what would you have done differently? If you could go back in time and, do things differently, what would you have done differently?
What do you mean? In what sense? What do you mean, what would I have done differently?
I don't know, would you have taken sports more seriously? Would you have, taken different classes? What would you have done differently?
I mean, so, to this day, I still play sports. I'm still really into soccer. I still train. I mean, I don't play for the college at the moment, but the plan is to keep training, keep getting good, and go to the trials or whatever before before I graduate. That's the goal. And if I'm able to actually have some sort of college career and in sports, and get drafted by the MLS or something,
Mm-hmm.
who knows? But that's something I'm looking forward to right now, just sports in college. I feel like I didn't focus in that in high school, or when I did, a lot of things set me up, set me to the point where I couldn't succeed because, for example, the first time I tried out, for high school, I had just transferred to the school I was going to, so I literally transferred in almost 2 months into the semester, and the trials were, I think it was like December or something, and they were like, oh, you can't try out because you don't have a transcript, you basically don't have a record here, we can't see your grades. So that held me back a year. Another year, it was injuries. It was, I feel like, after that, I didn't really take it serious. I was scared. I don't know, I was scared for some reason. I was like, oh, this dude's going to try out? Yeah, I don't even stand a chance. So, I mean, obviously that's changed. I got that confidence back. I got, I'm looking forward to that, I mean, what would you have done? What's one of the few things you would have done differently in high school or just in general?
Before we move on to what I would have done differently, let me ask you this. So why do you think back in high school you didn't really take soccer that serious? Even though you clearly had a passion for it.
I mean,
was it girls? Was it, I don't know, what was it?
I don't think it was any of that. I think it was just the fear of, not being successful. I think that was just one of the main issues.
Shouldn't that have pushed you, to try even harder, though?
I mean, in a sense, it did. I tried out 1 year, and, I made it to the last stage. And then the following day, they were like, okay, the papers are going to be up of whoever made it to the team. I obviously didn't make it to the team. But before that, it was just because I lacked that confidence,
Do you think part of it was, that you, what's it called? Before the tryouts in high school, you didn't really put in the work?
I feel like that was one of the things. I feel like I did not put enough work. So when I didn't put the work, my confidence didn't reflect that.
Mm-hmm.
If you put in the work, if you actually put in time to it, your confidence will come back, and it'll show.
Mm-hmm.
You'll take anything, you'll take anyone on. I believe I didn't have that. I think that was one of the factors, and I mean that's completely changed now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be like, oh, I didn't do well in high school or whatever. Let me not try out for college, because I'd be lying to you if I.
Yeah, and you're gonna look back 10 years later and you're gonna be like, damn, I actually tried out, but I never did it.
It's gonna be a regret, and also, like I said, I mean, I've been training, I've been trying to get right. I'm just looking forward to fall.
What does that mean, though? Trying to get right. What does that mean? They don't know what that means, so let them know.
I mean, I've just been focusing on soccer drills, training, trying to get my cardio up. Just trying to get back into it, where I could just run for all 90 minutes, let's say, or
Mm-hmm.
I don't want there to be any excuses when fall comes around, and then I'm not gonna be like, oh, I'm not physically fit to try out,
Mm-hmm.
and then just not try out because I found an excuse for myself. I feel like that's why a lot of people just put it off doing things. They'll just get comfortable and set an excuse for themselves, and then they'll just be comfortable with that.
Do you have like small little goals that you're trying to like reach though?
Are you saying at the moment or?
Yeah, to like eventually get to that like that point where you're like confident trying out for the team and
Um,
university. Like for example, are you trying to like say like, oh, by like next month I'll be able to run like I don't know 10 miles straight or something like that?
no, no. For soccer, it's a little bit easier for me. I just feel like you feel when you're ready.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you train, if you run, if you do your drills, um, it really just becomes muscle memory at that point. So I feel like you shouldn't limit yourself to those goals. Um, and yeah, I mean, if you could push yourself, I feel like you should push yourself. You can only get better at that point. Don't set limits to yourself and be like, oh, okay, my goal is only run 5 miles this month. I feel like you could do better than that. You could because at the end of the day, you're running in the field. You could run more than 10 miles for all you know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true, but I think it still helps to set like little goals like that to like get a head start. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
get a head start in your confidence.
but in a sense, you can't also mentally hold yourself. Because if you're telling yourself, okay, I feel like I would recommend that. If you're like just starting out with the sport and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you've been playing the sport and you just haven't been training and everything,
So like you're capable of doing it, but you're not doing it basically.
yeah, basically, I feel like if you know the player that you once were, and you're not him anymore, but you could reach that level or even better than that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you shouldn't just limit yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I feel like we should switch it now. I feel like what would you have
put me in
changed?
the hot seat, right?
Yeah, let's just
All right.
switch it up for a moment.
What I would have done differently, I mean, I didn't really play any sports at all. Like during middle school, I did have like a general interest for soccer, but that kind of dwindled away, and I never really got into sports. So if I could have done something differently, I would have probably got into wrestling.
You said you would have done wrestling.
Yeah, I would have probably got into wrestling.
What got you into that? Like what?
Well, I mean, I started watching like MMA like around sophomore year, so I was like around 16 years old. It was probably sophomore year.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe if I would have gotten into wrestling, I don't know, maybe I would have gotten into MMA, because one thing leads to another, and maybe I would have gotten into that, right? But
So you got into it sophomore year, you said, right?
yeah,
But you just didn't really get into it in the sense of actually training or trying out or anything.
no, I didn't, because like I was like in poor like physical condition, so I didn't even think about it.
So how come like what made you like what's the reason you're just deciding to push it at right now? I'd say like are you still looking forward to maybe trying out for college or something?
Nah, man, I think it's a bit too late to do all that, but especially if I actually want to like go anywhere seriously with wrestling, because I mean people have been wrestling since they were like 5 years old, right?
No,
So it's probably a bit too late now.
Yeah, I get that, but I mean, why not try it out?
Why not try it out just for the hell of it, or what?
Yeah, I think if you put some time into it,
Yeah,
put an hour or two a day, look up some techniques, just
it
practice.
doesn't hurt to like know
Yeah,
more.
I mean,
Basically.
it wouldn't hurt to just try. If you don't make it, you don't make it. If you get beat by other guys, you could go down and be like, oh, at least I tried it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You only have this amount of experience, and you at least tried it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't want to like we've talked about earlier. You don't want to go 10 years down the road and be like, oh damn, I should have done this while I had the chance.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, I think you're definitely right there, like saying that, but I feel like I would do it, but I wouldn't do it like competitively, if that makes sense. I wouldn't do it like with the goal of like trying to become like a college wrestler. I just do it for the sake of learning.
But okay, so like let's say you do move on to just learning wrestling overall, right? And let's say you don't end up trying out for for wrestling, college wrestling, would you think about considering a move into MMA, maybe amateur MMA?
I mean, like right now or like what?
I mean, it doesn't.
Hypothetically, if I would have done it back in the day or what?
No. I mean, it doesn't have to be right now. I feel like maybe a couple months down the road or something. If like, would you be willing to get into MMA if you don't end up doing the whole wrestling thing?
I mean, no, probably not right now, man. Like, to be honest with you, no, not right now. Like, even if I were to get into wrestling, I probably wouldn't go into MMA anymore. I feel like it's a young man's sport, And there's people out here that have been training since like they literally came out the diapers. So you're at a massive disadvantage. And it's not something you just pick up overnight. It's something that requires a lot of skill.
Yeah, no, I understand that. But what about like you wouldn't be willing to get into the sport? Just maybe take a technique. Like BJJ or.
No, yeah. Like I'd do it for like the purpose of learning self defense, but I wouldn't do it for the purpose of trying to like compete against young fighters or anything like that.
Not even in the amateur scene, like just to test your waters.
I mean, maybe I'd do like 1 or 2 fights, but like probably not because there's people there that are like dirt poor and they have like an actual like purpose, right? Like they have another way out besides becoming a professional fighter, right? Whereas me, I'm still in college, I'm still got a shitty job, but it pays something, right? So I don't feel like I'd have like that same drive that somebody would have if they were like dirt poor and that was their only option out.
So at the moment you believe that a lot of their motivation would be their financial status, basically.
Definitely.
Well, why?
I mean, like, why else would you put yourself through that pain? If like potentially getting CTE or a broken leg or a broken arm or whatever, right?
Okay, but what about the drive for the sport in general?
I mean, it's there, but it's only gonna take you so far. Like when you're like knocked out, when you get knocked down on the ground, or like when you're like about to tap, like what's gonna make you like not tap, right? You're gonna dig deep, and
it's all hard.
If you feel like you're too comfortable in life, you're probably not gonna be able to dig deep like that.
I mean, that's a valid point. That's a valid point. But if you're in the sport and wouldn't you say that heart takes you a long way? Basically, can't you just fight out of heart?
Yeah, but like I said, I think that heart comes from like something deep, like really deep within you, right? Like it's either got to be like a financial situation or you're doing it perhaps to put your family in a better place or whatever the case may be, right? But if you're like in a comfortable place in life, you're not really gonna be able to like dig deep in there.
So for example, Conor McGregor is basically what I'm.
Well, you know how the saying goes, right? Like when it's hard to wake up and run like miles when you're like sleeping in soaked sheets, right? So, I feel like maybe I have the wrong impression, but I feel like back like in 2015 when he was still chasing his first world title, he was a bit more motivated and more inspired. He did have like a different type of drive because he didn't know what it felt like to win a world title yet, but. Yeah, I can definitely see that from Conor McGregor. What do you think? Do you agree that it's harder to like run miles when you're sleeping in silk sheets or what?
I mean, I've never heard that phrase before until literally like right now.
Yeah. I mean, or you could put it this way, right? Like it's harder to like, wake up with that same drive when you have a Lamborghini outside the garage.
I feel like in a sense, that's not all the way accurate.
Why not?
Because look, I'm gonna just put in another sport as an example right here. Look at Cristiano Ronaldo. He got to be one of the highest paid. I mean, maybe not at the moment at Manchester United, but he gets a lot of money.
But he gets paid on a weekly basis, correct or no?
Yeah, they get. I'm pretty sure most soccer players do get paid weekly.
Yeah, he has to like earn his paychecks every single week, right? Whereas like MMA fighters or boxers, they can just make 100 million one night. You know what I mean?
They're not making 100 million in one night.
Well, Floyd Mayweather was.
But in the sense, I'm talking about, these UFC fighters. You could look at any fighter in the prelim. You know what I mean, like in general. Even in the amateur scene, you do know in the amateur scene they're not really getting paid.
Mhm.
So what's making them be like, oh, okay. You can't say that it's their financial status that's making them, get into the sport. You know what I mean? Because in the amateur scene, I'm pretty sure you're not getting paid. I could be wrong.
Yeah, you're not, but you're doing it with the hopes that one day you can like become a professional fighter and actually earn a
But
decent living.
but like I was saying before, Cristiano Ronaldo, he gets paid bank, and he's what I'm pretty sure he's like 38 right now.
Yeah, but these are
37,
two different
38.
sports. You know, like when you go into soccer, you're not really expecting to get CTE. Maybe a little bit of head trauma from like bashing your head with somebody else, right? But when you're going into boxing or MMA, you're expecting to come out a different person. You know, it's a different type of drive that you have to have within you to even get started in the sport.
So you think there's a little bit of precaution and stuff going into MMA just because of that, the health factors of it.
Yeah, definitely. You know, you're not gonna be the same person when you come out, and like that can affect you in all types of ways. You know.
Yeah,
But,
okay.
all right, like what else would you have done differently in high school if you could go back? Perhaps let's go into the dating. Like, would you have like stayed single? Would you have gotten into more relationships? Would you have just banged more chicks? What would you have done?
I'm gonna be honest with you. In high school, I didn't do that much dating. Or maybe not as much as other people. I wasn't really interested in that for some reason. I was just more focused on. Honestly, I don't even remember what I was really focused on at that time. Because, one could say, I was focused on school. But that didn't come until, like, junior year, freshman year.
Were you maybe
junior
focused on
year,
video games?
senior year, huh?
Were you maybe focused on video games?
I think at the time I was focused on video games. I was focused a lot on... Maybe you're right, maybe in a sense, it was girls and everything, but... And I wasn't really in relationships like that. And when I was...
I think it was more towards like the end of your high school years, right? That you did eventually get into a relationship.
Yeah, but that was already like when I was comfortable. That was more like when I was already, confident. I was graduating. At the time I had high grades. I was getting ready to look into colleges. I was already basically pretty comfortable. Like I said, I didn't really do much dating. I really... That's one thing where I don't think I really messed up. But, what about you?
So if you could go back, you wouldn't have changed it? Like, you wouldn't have gotten into more relationships? You wouldn't have, like...
I don't think I would have
differently?
changed anything, honestly. I mean, probably the sport thing we talked about, the soccer thing.
No, I know, but we're on the topic of dating right now.
Yeah, no,
You wouldn't have done
in that
anything differently?
sense, in the sense of dating, no, I don't think I would have really changed anything. I feel like I had that balance. I was still focused on school. I was still focused, solely on, I need to pass these classes. I always had the goal of going to college. So I don't think dating really affected, any of my plans. Honestly, what about you?
What about me?
Yeah, would you change anything? Anyone you dated?
Perhaps, yeah. I mean, perhaps I would have gotten into more serious relationship like early on, and just like took an L per se, right? Like learn how to deal with like a heartbreak better and stuff like that. But as opposed to waiting on like later on throughout my life, you know what I mean? Because I feel like the earlier you get it over with, like the easier it is to get over it in the future. You know what I mean? Like you have to learn how to like take L's too. But I mean, at the time I was like you, right? I was also focused on college. I was focused on getting better grades. I had a different focus, I guess.
So you say you would have dated more? But in a sense, taking those L's or whatever you want to call it, how would that, affected who you are today?
I don't want to get too much into my personal life, man, but let's just say it like this, right? Let's say I think it's better to like take L's early in life as opposed to later, right? Because when you're still young, you're able to get over stuff easier. You know what I mean? Does that make sense or not?
I mean, it does make sense, but like in what sense? You're just talking about L's in life overall, in relationships?
No, in relationships. In relationships. Yeah.
And you think, why do you think that? Wouldn't you think that the older you get, the more mature you'd become? So wouldn't you just face it with more maturity?
Well, I mean, you do get matured, but you get matured off of learning off of those mistakes that you made in the past. So you're gonna mature faster if you experience life faster, I guess you could say.
in a sense, that does make sense.
Mhm.
Let me see. So what about? I had a question for you. I just completely.
Yeah, what is it? What is it?
Literally just completely flew my mind. I'm gonna just ask you another one because let's see if the other one comes back. But so you said relationships. You would have changed. You would have dated more.
Mhm.
Let me ask you something else. Friendships. Would you have changed anything? Did any friendship really affect you when you were in those 4 years of high school, or maybe till today? Did anything really?
I mean, let's just say like I wouldn't have been like. I mean, I wasn't never really like a class clown, but I did put myself in situations where if I could go back, I probably wouldn't have put myself there. Like for example, like in the locker room, we did a lot of stupid stuff after weight training, and like just after PE class. I mean, well, not PE, right? It's called gym, but
Yeah.
after gym class and after weight training class, we did a lot of stupid stuff in the break room. And looking back at it, maybe I did it to like feel like a sense of belonging. And yeah, like if I could go back, I'd probably do things a bit differently. Like maybe I did it like looking back. Maybe I did all those things because I try to like fit into the group. You know what I mean? And I kind of lost a sense of self.
But you're telling me you would change that, or?
I mean, well, yes. Looking back at it, yes, but maybe that had to happen to become who I am today. So,
Yeah, I mean, I believe that everything happens for a reason. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
every little thing that you do or you go through, shapes the person that you are.
Hmm.
But would that be something that you would have changed?
Not necessarily because I mean, I don't think there's been any like long term impact from that.
So, um, overall, like in high school, for example, was there anything that did impact you to today? Like any, like I said, relationships, any.
No, not relationships. No, because I mean, like I had a couple towards then, but none of them were serious. But I mean, if there's anything that did affect me, I think it would be like it would have been taking weight training more seriously because, I would have been in a better place, right, if I had started since back then.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you remember, but in weight training class, we would get an A+ or like a higher grade only by beating our previous max. Do you remember that?
Yeah, no, I remember that.
Yeah, and like I think like my first day going there, I had benched like 135, right, or 45 on each side, right?
Yeah.
And like I figured like in my mind, like the only way to like beat this previous max is to gain weight, right? So what I had to do is I'd go home, I'd throw in like 2 bananas, like I don't know, like 4 scoops of peanut butter, a big mass gainer, and I gained fast, and I gained weight so fast, right? So if I could go back, maybe I would have like tried to like slowly gain weight instead.
So that
Like I wouldn't have dirty bulk, basically.
that weight training basically affected you to this day, basically.
I mean, yeah, I put on like hella weight. Like I went from like, I think I went from like 130 pounds to about like 190, like within the span of like a year and a half. Like I basically gained like a whole other body if you think about it.
So you basically you went up how much, like 60 pounds, you said?
About 60 pounds in a year, yeah.
What?
And at the time, I was thinking, oh, this must be all muscle, right? Because I'm lifting more.
Okay.
And like, no, it wasn't all muscle, obviously. So.
But then in the sense of you did gain that weight, you said.
Mm-hmm.
But how did it shift over to your weight training? Like,
I mean,
did you see improvement? Did you see decline?
I was
what happened?
I was lifting more, of course, right? But I feel like if I could go back, I'd definitely have like slowly bulked up.
Mm.
Because now I'm starting back up from like 200, and I'm slowly trying to get to like 165 or 170, right?
Oh yeah.
So and like if I would have taken it serious since back then, I would have already made like what, close to 6 years of progress. But now I'm starting back from like square one, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, I know that you've still been putting in that work, huh?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, right? It's only been like about like 3 weeks or so.
But
So I just barely started again, but yeah.
But you already see the progress, or
Yeah, I mean, I've lost like 10 pounds already in the last 3 weeks.
10 pounds in 3 weeks.
Yeah, but I feel like initially when you start losing weight, like you start losing it really fast, and after a while, you kind of like slowly slow down until you eventually plateau, and then you gotta break that plateau.
So basically, like, what's your focus right now? Just losing the weight, still wanting to keep the muscle, or what's going on with that?
So I'm trying to lose the weight, but I'm still trying to like keep the muscle basically. So I'm trying to like slowly lose weight, not too fast. Because over the last couple of weeks, I did lose it a bit fast, but I think that's normal, right? Like with anything, like when you barely start out, you're gonna see like insane progress, and then slowly slows down. But yeah, like I'm definitely gonna try to slowly lose it while trying to maintain muscle, because I'm not trying to like lose all the muscle that I did have.
Hmm. What about I mean, so what are you doing for that? Like, how are you keeping up with how much weight you're losing? Making sure that you're still eating enough to that point where you're still able to effectively work out and keep that muscle.
I mean, well, right now I wake up like at 6. I go to school, come back like at 10. I'm usually by the house like at 10:30, and yeah. So I just go in the kitchen. I make a protein shake, and I cook like a meal. I go train immediately. But basically, like as far as diet is concerned, I just try to like keep it under like 2,000 calories or so, because I'm trying to lose like about like 2 pounds a week or something like that. And like my calories are not completely like intact, because there's days when I eat a little bit more than I should, and there's days when I eat a little bit less, but it's around 2,000 calories.
So you're basically eating 2,000 calories a day.
About, yeah.
Is that not like the normal
Like maintenance?
intake that people
No, I mean, cause
basically take, or they should be taking?
No,
2,000?
yeah, I mean, it varies from person to person, but like before, to maintain my body weight, I'd eat up around like 2,500. So now I'm eating like 2,500 less than that,
Mm-hmm.
and on top of that, I'm doing cardio.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's like hitting the bag, or I don't know, doing the exercise bike, or going for like a small jog, or hiking or something. Every day I try to do a different type of cardio, right? But yeah. What about you? Like as far as weight training, like since high school, would you have done anything differently or what?
So I honestly, believe it or not, I mean, you could like look at my arms. They're not that big.
Mm-hmm.
Believe it or not, I took weight training seriously
Mm-hmm.
when I did have the class. The only problem with that was I didn't really have like a certain nutrition sort of
Nutrition plan?
nutritional
Diet
plan.
plan?
Yeah, that made me be like, okay, yeah, I'm trying to bulk up, or I'm trying to be able to actually gain some muscle mass.
Mm-hmm.
I actually started taking like muscle muscle milk and all that
Mm-hmm.
literally towards the end, like after I was basically already done with the class. So that's
So basically, like if you could go back, you're basically saying that you'd have like a whole diet plan laid out. You'd have like a whole workout regimen. Like you'd have it more planned out, right? As opposed to just kind of like, oh, like today I feel like eating. Today I feel like eating out. Today I feel like eating this, right? You would have had it like more structured.
I don't think it would have really made a difference,
Why not?
because to this day I'm still like eating. I'm eating a lot healthier. I really haven't really ate fast food like that.
But have you been tracking your calories or not really?
I try to, but it's sometimes really difficult because let's say I make something,
Mm-hmm.
you can't really track how much seasoning I put, how much
No, I know that, but seasoning doesn't really have too many calories, so that shouldn't really impact.
no, I get that, but in the sense of like sodium and all that, blah blah blah. But like
Nah, I
for
mean, that
example,
doesn't really matter, man.
you don't.
Just count the calories.
I don't really like weigh how much of a salmon I used. You know what I mean?
I know, but you can kind of like just see like from you can kind of just estimate it through your eyes, basically.
Yeah, I cannot estimate what 8 ounces looks like. You know what I mean?
I mean from what I remember, like I think 4 ounces of chicken is like about like half, like maybe like an iPhone right here, like basically like
What?
this much of chicken right here, and so just kind of times that by 2, basically.
I mean, basically, my plan is basically, just eat.
Mm-hmm.
Just if you are gonna eat fast food, maybe have a cheat meal like once a week, twice a week. But those other 5 or 6 days, just eat healthy. Try to eat 3 times a day.
3 times a day.
That was actually a big issue for me. I had problems eating. Like,
Why, you
I
just didn't feel hungry?
I never really ate breakfast.
No, I never
To
ate
this
breakfast.
day I kind of don't,
Yeah.
unless when I actually do have time.
Mhm.
And that's bad. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. As they say.
You think so?
I think so.
Nah, I don't believe in that.
It's really what begins the day. It gets your brain going. It gets you going. You need that sort of energy.
But what's most people's idea of an ideal breakfast? A bowl of cereal or some sugary stuff? Really, right?
I mean, it depends on the cereal you eat. You know what I mean? Like,
Does it though?
I mean, you're not gonna
Does
eat.
it?
You're not gonna eat cinnamon toast crunch trying to, be healthy. I think maybe some Special K, maybe some organic shit.
You think so though, or you think that's all in the advertising? I think that's all in the advertising, man.
I think
Because look at the ingredients list, and you're gonna be like, oh, is that really just grains, or like what's in that?
no. There are some that actually are. They have grains and shit, but it's just it just depends.
Mm-hmm.
I actually forgot the name of the brand, but
What is it, like Raisin Bran?
no, it's not Raisin Bran.
What is
Raisin
it?
Bran is disgusting.
What is it then?
It's I have to look it up, but it comes with like dates, oats, and I don't know what else. It's like $5 for the box.
So it's like Special K, but instead of strawberries, it has like other types of stuff.
Yeah, basically.
Gotcha.
Um,
And like as far as like getting into college or taking like different classes, what route would you have taken differently, or would you have still like done everything the way you did it?
so the problem with that was I didn't find out about the resources that my high school had until like senior year.
So basically, towards the end of the college.
Yeah, and the only
towards the end of high school.
only reason I found out was because I went to my counselor, and I was like, "Yo, I'm trying to take the SAT," and they were like, "Oh yeah, we have free forms for that."
Mm-hmm.
I took the SAT. I mean, you remember we took it twice because
Yeah.
the first time, we did it without the writing portion. Most colleges,
They require the writing portion.
some of them do, some of them don't.
Yeah.
But I think that was they have a lot of resources they don't really tell you about.
Mm-hmm.
It was just bad. It was I mean I still managed to get into college and everything. Everything went well, but
What about as far as taking like more AP classes or more dual enrollment classes? Would you have done that differently as well?
if by dual enrollment you mean like taking college classes
Yeah.
and high school classes,
Yeah.
I would have done that. That's another thing. The counselors did not disclose with any of the students.
Yeah, I kind of just found that out by over time, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe some AP classes are useless.
Like what?
For example, I had a friend once, who took, I think it was like AP psychology. I really don't remember.
I mean,
And no, look, peep game. So their major was, let's say it was math.
mm-hmm.
You're not even psychology is not even in your major.
Yeah.
Or in a sense, like for example, someone took AP Chem,
Mm-hmm.
and you need it for college.
Yeah.
But they were like, once they'll be like, okay, yeah, I got like a 4 on the exam.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be like, well, you still have to take the chemistry placement exam.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the point of the AP exam if you still have to go in there and take the chemistry placement exam? That's how it was the first year I got in. But after that, they were like, oh yeah, no, you can't be a chemistry major because you haven't taken the chemistry placement exam, and all that. So
Mm-hmm.
it was bad. I don't really see the point of some AP classes.
Yeah, I mean, I think it all just boils down to like, what's your major, and like, will that be like a future course that you'll need, because if not, then I think you are right. Like, what's the point?
Yeah, no, in a sense, yeah.
Yes. So real quick to like wrap up the show, like let's talk about some MMA. What's going on this weekend? What's going on?
If you don't know, you should already know. UFC 273, my boy.
Yeah. So who do you think is taking the main event?
No, honestly, it's one of the events I'm really looking forward to. I literally almost called out. I'm still working that day, but I'm gonna be able to watch the whole card. But a lot of people are just really gonna talk about those last 3 fights. I mean, obviously, that's it's basically the headliner.
Yeah, I'm actually just looking at the card right now.
Uh, Um,
I have like a slight idea of who's in the card, but I'm not like entirely sure who's on the card.
yeah, no. So the main event is Volkanovski and Korean Zombie.
Who do you think is taking that one?
I'm not gonna lie to you, Volkanovski, he's taking it. He's good. He's really good.
Yeah, he's probably taking it.
But I mean, I kind of want to see an upset. I know it might not happen, because I mean, you saw the point that Ortega took him to, but that triangle. You don't remember?
Why do you want to see an upset though? What's your beef with the Alex Volkanovski?
I've had beef with Volkanovski for a while now.
Why is that?
Just because of Max Holloway. Max Holloway is probably my favorite fighter in the roster. And I admit, Volkanovski is good.
But do you think he lost the second fight, or was it the first one that he lost? Which one do you think he lost against Holloway?
I think he lost the second fight. It was really close.
The second one?
Yeah. I was more upset about the second fight than the first one. I think, Max got destroyed by those leg kicks in the first one.
Yeah.
And then he fixed it. But
did he not also drop Volkanovski like in the second round and
in the second one?
fight, I think?
Yeah, in the second one.
Yeah, in the second one.
But
so you think those knockdowns kind of secured him the fight?
I think it was secure in the round.
I
I wouldn't say the fight. But if the fight is as still as sometimes it is, then I think you should go for knockdowns.
Yeah. But what would you say to the people that would say that just the takedowns alone kind of secured the fight for Volkanovski?
That's bullshit.
Why is that?
100% bullshit.
Why is that, man?
Just because you're telling me if you lay on someone, take them down and just lay on them the entire fight.
I mean, well, it is MMA though. It's not boxing. You know what I mean? You also have to understand that.
Yeah, I mean, okay, but I get it if you're laying on them for like 4 minutes and you're actually putting in some work. But you can't tell me that the round is basically a 10-9, right? Let's say it's a 10-9, with 10 seconds left. Other dude gets a takedown. Oh, it just so happens the round, shifted in his favor because you got a takedown in the last 10 seconds.
Okay, but what would you say like in a situation where it's like a pretty close round, it's even strikes, or there's not much strikes, there's not much action whatsoever, but somebody towards the end of the round kind of secures the takedown, kind of like Volkanovski tends to do. Do you not think that would kind of give him the round just because of the way he ended it strong? Even though there was no previous action from both fighters?
In that sense, if there was no action like that, then yeah. Just give it to whoever. But if you're just laying and praying, as some people say, they should just take away a point. I get it's MMA.
Yeah.
But damn, those fights are so boring. Look how Usman changed up. You know what I mean? Usman's a fun fighter to watch now.
He wasn't a fun fighter though?
I didn't like him. I remember that T. Woodley fight. He just laid him, prayed him for all 5 rounds. I was falling asleep. I expected more from T. Woodley at that time, but there's not really much I could, comment on that after that,
What about like the co-main event, Aljamain Sterling versus Jan? I think you clearly hate Sterling, don't you? Do you think it was an act or what? Do you think he should have won the Grammy?
Hold on.
Not the Grammy, the Oscar.
Hold on. Just give me a moment. I'm gonna put a charge real quick.
Putting the laptop to charge real quick to continue the podcast. So I saw you kind of smiling there when I brought up Sterling. Like, do you have beef with Sterling, or like, what's up with that?
I mean, so looking back at it,
yeah.
At that moment, I was mad because Jan was completely dominating him. The other day, like I said, I rewatched the fight because UFC actually, posted it on the YouTube channel. So I was like, might as well rewatch it. That first round, I think it was the first 2 rounds. It was a lot closer than people actually say. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure for what you remember, is Jan just dominating Sterling. Am I
Yeah, I'm
wrong?
not gonna lie because I did have like a preference bias towards Jan. I did have like a bias towards him. I'm not gonna lie.
But you look back at the fight.
And like those 2 rounds, like Aljamain Sterling had like a high volume output.
No, the first round.
Oh, the first round.
The first round. In the like by the second round, I feel like Jan figured him out.
And Aljamain kind of started gassing out, or what?
Yeah, he could not keep the level he did of the first round.
Mm-hmm. He couldn't keep that output basically.
But then that knee.
Yeah, then he definitely. I mean, I don't know, like personally, I'm not gonna say he faked it, but I do think he kind of exaggerated the reaction quite a bit.
I mean, in a sense, like if you get kneed in the head, I mean, come on, bro.
Yeah, no, but like just the way kind of like he rolled his eyes back and everything, like the way he fell back on the campus, I feel like that was a bit exaggerated. I mean, let me ask you this though: would you have done the same if you were Sterling? If you're in that position, you could quote unquote win a world title.
I mean,
what would you have done?
If I'm gonna win the world title, by the way he did,
you wouldn't even accept it,
and it wasn't my fault.
Yeah.
And I knew I was getting dominated the way he was.
Yeah.
Give me the title.
So you're throwing a party right there in Vegas then.
But what I don't like what he did was, and look how long he's held the title.
But I think he did get surgery though, did he not? Like on his neck.
But a lot of fighters do that. You know what I mean? A lot of fighters just tend to be like
hold on to the title a bit longer.
Yeah, they'll be like, okay, yeah, I can fight this time. They start, talking about the fight. We're gonna set it up for July or whatever. Then they'll be like, oh, I gotta get neck surgery. Can't do it till next year.
Yeah.
And they just duck.
I mean, well, he is technically the champion right now, and I think he wants to come into that rematch, with no injuries or nothing at all. He's technically the A side in this situation. He's coming in as a champion, and I think it's the best situation for Aljamain is to be 100% healthy. You know what I mean? Have no injuries or any like strains on his body.
Okay, but so, what was the excuse beforehand?
Beforehand, I think he was claiming that he had not ate anything that day, and that he came into the fight really, really lightheaded. But I mean, as far as excuses, like what do you mean excuses? Like I don't think he had any, did he? Or did he have a couple of excuses?
I mean, other than the knee, you know what I mean, like.
Well, I mean, that's really like the only thing I've heard him say besides the knee. Besides the knee, he was kind of like saying that fight night he didn't really like have anything to eat, and he kind of came into the octagon, just on an empty stomach.
So you would rather go to the octagon, with a full belly?
Not with the full belly, but like
I mean?
at least eat a banana or something, to like have something in your body, because like I feel like, for example, like when you do anything and you're like hungry or you're like dehydrated, like you kind of tend to feel a little bit lightheaded. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe if he had some food or something in his body, he would have been able to absorb that knee a little bit better.
I think now that I mean we never said, but who do you have on this one?
And Aljamain Sterling versus Jan. Man, I mean, it's really hard to go against Jan, right? Because the way he looked against Sandhagen. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to give it to Jan. I do kind of want Sterling to win, but I had to give it to Jan.
You want Sterling to win? Why?
Yeah. I mean, I'm always just going for the underdog, even though Sterling is the champion, I'm still always going for the underdog. And he is the betting underdog for this fight.
Is he?
He is.
How much? What are the odds looking like?
Plus 350 for Sterling and minus 475 for Jan. Damn. So Jan is pretty big favorite right here.
So, I want to talk about the fight before that. The one I'm really excited for.
Gilbert Burns versus Hamza Chimaev.
Gilbert Burns versus Khamzat.
Yeah.
That's great. I mean,
do you think it's gonna be like the way most people see it? Just Hamza just going in there and just dominating Burns, or what do you see?
I don't think it's gonna be domination.
You don't think it's
gonna be domination? I think the Khamzat train keeps rolling.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Khamzat.
Yeah.
As you can tell.
Yeah.
If I'm correct, Khamzat's actually the betting favorite over Burns.
Oh yeah,
and that is insane.
He's a huge betting favorite.
Yeah, and that's insane.
At minus 510.
That's insane.
Mm-hmm. I mean, well, it's not insane though. Like if you look at his previous fights, he barely even gets hit. I think he's only been hit once in his last 3 fights.
Yeah, it's literally 122 to 1.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a huge differential. So when you factor all those things and, you know, he's undefeated and all that, he's an up-and-coming star. Like, it's not really, like, unbelievable, but
I mean...
But Burns has been, like, you know, around for a while. Like, I feel like it is kind of just disrespectful, you know?
I mean,
like the odds.
In a sense, I feel like it's disrespectful because, you know, against Usman, I mean, don't you remember? He
Against
knocked down
Usman?
Usman.
Who did? Oh, Gilbert Burns?
Burns knocked down Usman.
Yeah, he did. And I think he also took out Woodley, if I'm not mistaken, before Woodley got out of the UFC.
Burns did take out Woodley.
Yeah. He had him doing the chicken dance. Nah, no disrespect to T Wood.
No, but after that Usman fight, T Woodley was not the same.
Mm-hmm.
T Woodley got completely dominated by Usman. After that, he gets beat by Burns, and after that, he gets beat by Covington.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I mean, the rest of the card. I think who else is fighting? Aspen Ladd, I think.
Mackenzie Dern versus Tisha Torres.
Oh yeah.
The one before that, and then Bing Pichel versus Mark Madsen. So, I mean, really, like the main fights that I'm looking forward to for this card are going to be the last three.
Last three.
Mickey Gall is fighting some Mike Mallet. Mickey Gall is supposed to be like a huge, like, you know, up and coming star back in the day, but
no, yeah, I remember that after he beat Sage Northcutt.
Yeah,
he was supposed to be the next big thing.
He was supposed to be the next big thing, but I mean, do you think he can still come back and become like a huge star?
Who, Northcutt or Gao?
Gao.
No,
because Northcutt is not one championship, but no.
I think after that CM Punk fight, I know you remember that.
Yeah.
I just, it's been losses on losses on losses. If I remember correctly, did he fight Mike Perry?
I think he did actually. I think Mike Perry actually. I'm not sure if he got a knockout, but
I think Mike Perry that was when Mike Perry had his girlfriend in the corner, right?
No, I think that's a different fight.
No.
Yeah, I think he fought Cabo Oliveira with the girl in the corner.
No. I get that. But he also did that on Mickey Gao. You don't remember?
No, I don't remember. I remember the fight, but I don't remember like who he had in his corner or anything like that.
Look it up right now. I'm pretty sure he had his girlfriend at the time in his corner, and that was the only person. No, he had no training camp, no nothing. I mean, I think now he's in bare knuckle, but
no, it was during UFC 225 against Tim Means.
What?
Yeah, it was against Tim Means.
He had his girlfriend in the corner against Tim Means.
Yeah.
And he lost that fight, right?
I think he did. I think Tim Means won by decision. I don't think Tim Means knocked him out or anything like that.
I swore he had her in his corner in another fight. But look up Mike Perry versus Mickey Gao. Maybe I'm bugging.
Yeah, because that was like... Oh, that was UFC on ESPN, Poirier versus Hooker. So yeah, that was a completely different card and everything.
Oh, was it? Yeah.
Yeah, the one where Latoria Gonzalez, I think her name was.
Yeah.
The card where she was in Mike Perry's corner was 255.
Then who do you have in his? I mean, after that, he didn't have no one in his corner.
No, I mean after that, I think he got a training camp together.
No.
Yeah, he did, right?
No.
Yeah, he did.
Who? With who?
I'm not sure. Somewhere in Florida, I think he's training out of now.
Because I thought after that they released him because, he wasn't really taking it that serious. Because, now he's in bare knuckle, so.
Yeah.
But, like I said before, I could be wrong.
I'm not really too sure about Mike Perry. But all right, do you want to bring the podcast to an end, or?
Yeah, I mean, so before we leave,
make sure to hit the like button. Make sure to subscribe, obviously.
And actually, last week we forgot to put our socials and everything on the description. So we're actually gonna try and do that this time. We actually have an Instagram and everything now, so we're still kind of working towards that. We're gonna put that in the description as well. And then now we all have individual channels. I think you have an individual one.
Yeah, I just gotta start posting on there, but yeah, I got it.
So Hugo has one, and I have one as well. So we're gonna put that in the description. And this week Jeremy couldn't be with us, but he'll
definitely be here for the next podcast.
Yeah, he'll be here for the next episode.
Yeah.
And on we might be uploading again on Friday, if I'm correct. We're just gonna do a little vlog, and we'll see how that goes. Put more content out for you guys, and until next week.
Is there anything else you want to say before we wrap things up, or is that it?
Just also, as we mentioned last week, go ahead and send us your questions if you have any. If
is there any topics that you
any topics you're interested in us talking about? Just anything in general, any viewpoints you want to know.
If you have any beef with him, Jeremy, or me, let us know too.
And y'all got beef with us, let us know.
Right. Is that it?
But yeah, make sure to like and subscribe. And
turn on post notifications.
We'll be posting again Friday, if not also next week, with another episode. So stay tuned for episode 3 and our personal vlog. All right. See you guys.
Peace.